What's going on, everybody? It's Professor Zeus, and I'm back with another video. Um, Life is just extremely interesting. Day by day, week by week, we just see how interesting life is getting. And I wanted to react and give some of my thoughts about this video that I saw on CNN's State of the Union with Dana Bash. She had a few other commentators on to discuss, you know, Elon Musk and his Doge team's efforts to audit the federal government, you know, you know, alleging that he has access to our data, different things like that. And I just wanted to watch it with you guys and analyze it from a critical lens, and see if we can make any headway into life and just being able to think critically. So let me go ahead and bring up the video. And I think this video happened, I think this occurred yesterday. So let's check it out.
Credo here for me because I understand that it's on the one hand, Washington bureaucrats, deep state, whatever it is that you call it. But on the other hand, the notion of him really accessing personal data, a lot of information, and doing we don't know what with it, that doesn't give you a concern?
No, it doesn't, because he's not going to do anything nefarious with this information. It's almost as if you're doing an accounting, a forensics accounting of a company. You need to have access of everything in order to say we should make cuts here, or this is ineffective or inefficient. He's doing what the president has mandated for him to do, in part what the American people expected Donald Trump to do. And as it pertains to Democrats, Democrats have had every opportunity to come to the table to offer a solution to cutting government spending. Once upon a time, they actually believed in that. Instead, all I have heard is whining, complaining about what Trump is doing, what Elon Musk is doing. The American people every single month, Dan, has to balance their budgets. They have to see how much money they can afford to pay for certain things and how much they have to cut back. Why shouldn't the federal government do the same? You would think that my Democratic friends would agree with that.
Yeah.
I have seen the exact opposite.
So,
Can I
go ahead.
quickly, by saying he's not going to do anything nefarious with it, you're putting a lot of faith in somebody whose stated aim is to move fast and break things. And when you move fast and break things in government, can have a real impact on people's lives. So I think just asking the American people to trust that Elon Musk isn't going to do anything they wouldn't be comfortable with their personal data is that's a tough sell to the American
Democrats
people.
had 4 years under the Biden-Harris administration to bring up all of these things they're now complaining about, cost of living.
So let me briefly just go over something, right? So to the woman's point, about Elon Musk having access to sensitive information. Right now, there are plenty of unelected bureaucrats that we don't actually know that have access to the same information. So this is kind of already a thing. And I guess the question comes down to whether, well, who do you trust more? Do you trust Elon Musk and the Doge team with this sensitive information, or do you trust unelected federal bureaucrats that you actually don't know anything about with all this information? If I had to choose, I would have to choose probably the people that I do know. I mean, I don't know them personally. I don't know Elon Musk personally, but I do know of him. And now it's easier to put my faith or belief in somebody that I do know than shadow characters that I've never heard of or never seen before. I've never seen their face on TV. I'm just honestly saying. And also, Elon is actually the richest man in the world. So is there any, or what would be the incentive that he would have to do something with, our information? Like, is there any incentive? Is there anything to gain from having access to this information? Because honestly, I don't really think there's anything to gain from being the richest man in the world. But these unelected bureaucrats, they might have something to gain. I mean, they have access to the same data. I don't know them. What are they planning to do with it? But there's the argument that the Doge team is getting access to all the sensitive information. But when you really think about it, Elon Musk, he probably has a lot of more knowledge about cybersecurity and protection of data than these federal bureaucrats who are running the system, just to be completely honest, right? So when you look at the incentive structure, Elon doesn't really have an incentive to be careless with who he's hiring or how the Doge team operates with the data, because if something bad actually does happen, then that's going to actually make, President Trump look bad. And if President Trump looks bad, then he's not going to have if President Trump looks bad, then he's not going to support Elon Musk, and Elon Musk needs the support of the president. If you really think about it, like, then everything's going to be over. So at the end of the day, I think the incentive for Elon financially is to actually, protect us, protect our data, and not to do anything nefarious or who knows what with the data. So I don't think I'm that worried per se. Always skeptical, but I'm not that worried per se about what he could potentially do with the data. I don't think it's that concerning.
Housing, etc. They said absolutely nothing.
That's not
when
true, and
eggs,
you
gas,
know it.
etc. was
Come
going
on.
up 20 to 50%. They said nothing to the Biden administration.
I just
Yeah.
want to say, first of all, welcome to the CNN family.
Thank
Associate.
you.
I also want to tell
Appreciate
people who might not know that you just came from within.
Yes.
You worked in the Department of Justice for several years, so you are coming with fresh information about being inside one of these agencies that is very much on the chopping block.
Yeah, absolutely. And look, I have to agree that, okay, fine. You want to make cuts? Make cuts. There are significant conflicts of interest when it comes to Elon Musk, and that is the problem. He owns several businesses where personal data and personal information could benefit his financial interests. And the sources that I've been talking to within the FBI are actually terrified that he is trying to put people within the FBI in order to advance his financial interests. One example of that is he wants the FBI to start using Starlink. So how frightening is that? The fact that he is putting people with
Starlink is his own internet company.
which is his own internet company. He wants FBI to start using Starlink to start tracking people. Now, that is terrifying to me, that he's not acting, as Scott likes to say, on behalf of the president. He is acting on behalf of himself. And I think people should be very scared about that.
You're terrified that the FBI might have the internet?
So another thing that a lot of people like to bring up about Elon and access with the government and different things is that that he has millions of dollars in contracts with the federal government, with the Pentagon, and the military, and that he's just essentially trying to make himself richer. I think there's an issue with this argument in that the argument would be more valid if Elon and his companies like Starlink, SpaceX, if these companies and the services that he provides, the government uses them. So that means technically the companies, the services, the products he's providing, they're not bad products, right? Technically, right? So yeah, that would be a better argument if the products he was providing were actually bad products, but because the government is using them, maybe they're not actually bad. And the issue of Elon having the government use his companies is probably, if just honestly speaking, it's probably the most efficient thing that the government is doing right now, honestly. And it's crazy to think about that, because he's providing services and products that are so efficient that I found some information online that I'd like to share. I mean, if you really think about it, it's like he's providing the best options right now for like space exploration and things like that. So I found something, right? instead of, doing certain things themselves, that is the government, maybe they should actually think about giving Elon more money. And I know that might be a complicated talking point, but if you really think about it, he would be able to run more efficiently, right? So if you think about NASA and space exploration, if you know me personally, I'm really big into, like, my company name is You and I Verse, so I'm really big into the universe, being able to explore different planets, that whole ideology about, different beings and things like that. But if you look at NASA, Elon's company SpaceX actually saves NASA billions of dollars, and I'm going to provide some examples, and I'm going to post them on the screen. So, and these numbers are crazy. So when it comes to NASA developing the Falcon 9 rocket, for NASA to actually make that rocket, it will cost them between 1.7 to 1.7 to $4 billion, versus SpaceX, Elon Musk company, to develop the same rocket would cost them $300 million, which would result in savings of 1.4 to $3.7 billion. So if the government tries to build this same Falcon 9 rocket, that's like 4 billion, versus having Elon do it for 300 million. That is a lot of money. That is a lot of savings, right? So SpaceX is already saving the government and all the US government related space operations like 40 billion. 40 billion, because I believe it's been how many decades since they've been dealing with them? I mean, since like 2011 to 2012. So that's how much, Elon has been able to save the government. So when you talk about, or have the idea that there might be a conflict of interest having Elon at the helm, that, he's going to have the government use all his products and different things like that, then the government needs to actually come up with a way to be more efficient. That's, that's just what it is. I mean, from the looks of it, his products are good. And to give you another example, I'm gonna put the information on the screen as well. I don't know if a lot of people know or knew that, the Biden-Harris administration, they had a effort to bring the internet to rural America, right? And that was a $40 billion effort. And from what I've seen or what I've researched, that I don't think anybody in rural America actually got connected to the internet. So it's like, although the government spent 40 billion, they haven't made any headway in that effort. But they could have contracted another company that Elon has, which is Starlink, and did it for probably a fraction of the cost. But they didn't do that. Like, it just makes you think. I'm not saying that, the argument that there might be a conflict of interest is incorrect or anything, but the problem is that at the end of the day, regardless if Elon is influencing these decisions that the government makes or not, if the government was already more efficient, they wouldn't have to bother using Elon's products, but they're not that efficient. So you have to use his products. And, that's just something that the government has to think about. And if people have issues with that we need to spend like more billions and different things like that, like, yeah, like let's waste more taxpayer money because, we hate Elon. Like, that doesn't make any sense. Like, I work, you know what I mean? So I would like to be able to see where my money is going. And, because you have a grudge against, a multi-billionaire, does that mean that I have to pay more for government efforts? You know what I mean? It just makes you think, right? And then so that was just a little bit of some of the clip that I saw, but it just brings up a bigger question. Like, DOGE, the Department of Government Efficiency, right? They have a deadline of July 4th, 2026, so next year. So they basically have a year and a half to audit everything in the federal government. And I know they gave themselves a deadline just to find out where all this hidden money is going. Like, who are these unelected federal bureaucrats who got access to the same data that Elon got? How are they like siphoning all this money? Where's all this money going? Like, if you don't look at it from the point of view of every 3 months, you got to audit yourself. Like, where am I spending most of my money? If you're not doing that yourself, then you wouldn't care that the government is not doing that. But I actually care because I do that. I do that for my household. My wife and I, we get together and we audit our expenses. We want to see where most of our money is going. So how can I not expect that from the federal government, right? Because the problem I think people have with it, a lot of people, like, I'm independent, right? So I don't care if you're Democrat, Republican, whatever you have, whatever you are, own it, whatever. We can have a discussion, conversation. I always feel like no matter what side you're on, you can have a discussion, right? But it's almost seeming like people are getting mad that, Elon is doing all this audit, almost like they're hiding something. If you're not hiding anything, then you should be able to, say, hey, the money is not coming into my pocket. Because, like, you gotta think about it, right? Most of these politicians, they have an annual salary of like 100 to 250,000 a year. But if you check out their net worth, they're multimillionaires. So that's why it always used to trip me out, because it's like they're saying that, oh, President Trump wanted to have tax cuts that would benefit the super rich. But you're a politician, you're super rich, so it would benefit you as well. You know what I'm saying? So that's why I always tell people, like, listen, don't get so caught up on politics to the point like your brain gets frazzled. You know what I mean? That's when you lose as a human. You're supposed to be able to look, listen, understand critically, comprehend critically about things that are happening. But when you get so agitated about this side, or you get so agitated about this side, that's when you lose. And the game is meant to be won, not to lose. Right? People keep complaining that, oh, like what I said earlier, like Elon wants the data, like Elon wants our data, but he's like the richest man in the world, and his net worth is going to keep going up regardless of anything. So it's like, whether or not he has the data, how does that bother you? Like, not even how does that bother you, but what are you going to do about it? You know what I mean? I keep telling people 2025 is going to be a great year. It's not going to be easy. Stop being so blindsided by news that you don't fully really understand, and actually try to do what you can do to be the best version of yourself. Right? Like, people forget that Elon has owned several different companies like PayPal. How many of us have PayPal? A lot of us have PayPal. When you sign up for PayPal, you're putting your personal information in there already. So if Elon wanted to do something nefarious, he would have been did it when you signed up for PayPal. You know what I mean? Not only that, you have apps like TikTok. People voluntarily give out personal information about their life on camera. Voluntarily. Nobody asked about any of this information, and you want to share it. You know what I mean? Not only that, but you got vehicles like, even like Teslas. You have you put in your information. It has like a GPS. Like, we're already getting tracked. So why is it now that you feel a certain type of way? Like, even remember the thing that happened in Las Vegas with the Cybertruck exploding? Because of the technology in it was how it was able to transmit the information to the authorities so they can get there in a reasonable time. But don't get mad at Elon. Like, we're already giving out so much of our information every single day, right? he would have already did something with our information when we were signing up for PayPal. You know? There's so many distractions going on. Like, I keep telling people, like, listen, stop getting distracted and focus on how to be the best version of yourself. All of our data is already compromised. So what are you gonna do? Tell me, like, what are you gonna do? Our data has been compromised. Is it gonna change now because Elon's there and he's trying to audit the federal government? Is it gonna change? So why are we in an uproar? Oh, and now, like, I'm seeing, like, some Democrats on the left, I think Cory Booker or whatever, he's like, yeah, like, you know, March 14th when the budget expires, like, let's have a government shutdown. It's like, man, come on, like, what are we really talking about? Democrats, Republicans, they got to work together. They might have opposing ideas on issues, but at the end of the day, they represent us. But we're worried about Elon Musk having access to our data. Everybody, like, each of these apps got access to our data. We have to really unlearn a lot to get to the best versions of ourselves. And that's what I'm going to keep preaching. I'm going to keep pushing on people. Right? We have to do, like, this is what it is, right? The generations in the past, they were willing to do what was necessary in order for the next generation to survive. But now the mentality is, I don't want to do that. I want to keep, like, I don't want to work, or I'm so in my butt. The past generation, they were focused on the future, us right now. And I keep telling people, if you're not concerned about the future, if you don't take care of the future right now, the future will not take care of you. I got a son, so I'm doing the best that I can to make sure the earth is a better place for him than it was for me. So what are you guys doing? Are you guys really worried about Elon and him siphoning through federal government data to see if any of, you know, all the federal government money if it's siphoning off to different politicians? Is that a bad thing to call out? Is that a bad thing to call out? Just honestly, I honestly want to know. I honestly want to know, man. It's you and I verse for a reason, and we need to find out where our money is going. That shouldn't be such a red flag, man. Anyways, let me know what you guys think. Make sure to leave a like, a comment, send this video to your family and friends. Ask them what they think about it. And if you haven't already, please subscribe. We're on our way to 200 subscribers, and we're taking it the humble route. Always keep in mind, 2025 is going to be a great year. This won't be easy. And it's you and I verse for a reason. I teach you, you teach me. We both take what we taught and what we learned from each other and apply it to what's going on. That's the only way life can go on. I'll see you guys in the next one.